everybody. Happy 4th of July. Be safe this weekend. But this is Three Deep South, a college football podcast brought to you from the great state of Arkansas. I'm Mason. That's my co host, Justin. And today we're kind of going to get into EA and their top 25 teams that they rated. It's kind of the slow season. July is the slowest season. So we're thankful that EA gives us easy to talk about content because they are genuinely terrible most of the time when it comes to these things. But first, before we get into that, we're going to kind of talk about the NCAA's. They approved a one-time transfer portal just for the window of July 7th through August 5th. And it's not what you would normally kind of think it would be. Whenever I first read this, I read it conflicting things, right? So I thought at first that it was something that was just going to be a one-time transfer portal from here on out, right? So I thought that we were going to one window, which I was so thankful for. I wasn't necessarily happy about the time and place of it, but as it would turn out, it didn't matter what the hell I thought because it's actually just a one-time transfer portal window this time, and it's for teams that or for players that aren't going to make the 105, the final cuts of the rosters, or maybe like that BYU quarterback case. He's going to have to transfer somewhere. So let's kind of get into that, Justin. What do you kind of think about? Maybe not right now with the transfer portal window because as I just talked about, it's just a one-time thing right now. But going forward, should we move to one transfer window?
Man, honestly, and I just want to start off by saying I am traveling right now. So if I don't have good service, you would think in 2025 that everywhere in the United States would have good service and you'd be able to do stuff like this from anywhere. But I guess that's not true. So if I blank out or something like that, I mean, I'm hoping I don't because I got a lot of important stuff to say and a lot of things to say that'll probably piss a lot of people off. So I don't want any of y'all to miss anything. But to get back to what you were saying, it's kind of one of those things where I can discuss this back and forth with myself just as much as I can with you. Do I think it's good to have two transfer portals? Sure. Because you got to understand, a lot of colleges lie to these kids. And a lot of people are just kind of blaming it all on the kids. But really, I mean, how many times do you think colleges tell a 4-star defensive end or a 4-star running back, oh, yeah, man, if you transfer here, you're just going to start. But then they ride the bench for 2 years, and then it's well, I shouldn't have transferred there. So it gives them the option to kind of see the depth chart, but especially with Ohio State, that's my team. I noticed that the coaches and even some of the players, they were Devin Brown, he was still Ohio State's backup quarterback, but he was enrolled in classes at Cal. And I just feel like that transfer window right there in I guess that's the winter transfer window or whatever it is. I don't know what they categorize it as, but I feel like that one is such a weird window. I think they should move it back and start it as soon as the season ends, let it go for 3 or 4 weeks. And I think that one should be the only one. I don't think there should be another one. What, they have another one in season, or not in season, but around this time of year, don't they?
It's right after spring ball, actually. So you'll go through all the spring training, and then you'll go to your spring game. And in Arkansas's case, we'll have a guy that does good in the spring game, and then he'll leave that following Monday generally.
Exactly. And I just feel like that one, the spring window, is the one they need to get rid of. Because I feel like kids shouldn't be able to come in. There was the kid for Alabama, Proctor, the offensive lineman last year. He transferred to Iowa in I guess we can just call it the winter window. He transferred in the winter window and then transferred back to Alabama. He transferred to Iowa in the winter window, transferred back to Alabama in the spring window. I just feel and at the end of the day too, that's not even good for kids because how can you learn, I mean, now offensive line is a little bit different, but a wide receiver or running back or a safety or a linebacker, how do you learn two different systems in the matter of 6 months and be a proficient player? I think they should get rid of the spring window. I don't mind the winter window. I just wish it was bumped back to maybe it opens up for everybody a week after the national championship game.
Yeah, and that would be ideal because right now, as we have it, like it's during the semifinals or the quarterfinals is when it opens. And if we moved it back just right after the national championship game, it would give people time to get enrolled right before spring training, spring camp, and then we could just stop with the nonsense of people coming and going as they please. I am a fan of certain things about the transfer portal. I think it helps a lot of teams like Arkansas, like Iowa, like Kentucky, like Ole Miss. But
And it helps a lot of It helps a lot of players too.
yeah, yeah.
You know,
But
and
just to
I think it
me,
really does make.
sorry.
No, you're good. I think it really does make college football better because you got to think about it. 4 or 5 years ago, we wouldn't have had the like they are right now. Texas Techs, the
Mhm.
Arizona States. Like we wouldn't have those teams being where they are without the transfer portal because you would just have 2 and 3 deeps at your Alabamas, Georgias, Ohio States, Floridas and stuff like that, where their 3 or 4 deeps are 5 stars. Well, now those teams and those players are dispersing to other teams.
It's definitely done a lot for the sport as far as parity. I just think it also has hurt the quality in a sense of like there's guys that maybe could have stuck it out at an Arkansas or at a I'll give a maybe a worse example, but like a UTSA or a Marshall or somewhere like that where they could have stuck it out at Boise State and instead of taking a big paycheck and going to one of these bigger schools, they could have maybe made more money in the long run and Boise State would be better for it and we would get better football at the lower level. But I think there's nothing we can do about it right now either way as far as how the transfer portal works. Maybe we can just change the windows. That would be great. But let's kind of get into these top 25 teams for EA. Jumping off the page at me, first things first. Let me ask you, do we want to start at 25 or do we want to start at 1?
I think we should start at 25. I mean, everybody kind of knows who the top teams are, really. I think 25 is probably the best place to start.
What jumps out at me, just looking at, because the way I'm looking at it, it's grouped into 5 teams apiece. They have Missouri and Duke ranked above South Carolina and Illinois. Missouri won, 7 games last year? I don't remember them just making crazy pulls. Auburn went 5-7 last year, and they're ranked above Illinois and South Carolina. But Auburn has had good cycles. It just, to me, those 2 teams are rated a little low. Maybe EA knows more about it than I do. They probably do. They probably looked into it further. But
no, you know what, Mason? I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I don't understand why, especially EA and maybe SEC or the ESPN's going to do it too. But why are they treating, like, I'm really high on South Carolina. I even think they have Oklahoma low too, and I'm high on them. But why is EA treating South Carolina like a redheaded stepchild? I have a brother-in-law, Riley, that is a redhead, and that's what, I mean, okay, I see it firsthand. Redheaded stepchildren are just crapped upon, and that's what it's like that they're doing to South Carolina. Not in the top 25, and you can argue that Lenora Sellers is a top 2 or 3 returning quarterback in all of college football. And then you have the defensive end, and then they have the wide receiver that has 99 overall speed. I just don't understand how they don't have that team ranked in the top 25. And like you said, teams like Duke, Missouri, SMU's returning a lot, but like those type of teams, Tennessee lost their quarterback. They don't know who their quarterback is. Like, I just don't like. I like doing this because it does give us something to talk about. Mm-hmm. But when you start looking at the list, it just rubs you the wrong way and pisses you off.
Yeah, and to me, like even in Auburn's case, Auburn, yes, they do have a lot going for them. I would say with the Jackson Arnold transfer, and they've had all these top recruiting classes in the last couple cycles. They do have a lot of excitement, but Auburn to me has proved less than South Carolina. Missouri hasn't proved. Missouri has proved less than South Carolina. Um, SMU to me and Indiana both teams to me have so much more to prove, like in a sense of like, can they do it again? They didn't really play tough schedules. So I don't understand what they did to make it. Are they saying the players at Indiana, their aggregate, is better than the aggregate of players at Illinois or South Carolina? You know what
Well,
I'm saying?
and like you look at it too. Yeah, no, I totally understand what you're saying. Like you can't tell me the collective group of players add up to what is Indiana or yeah, what is Illinois and South Carolina? They're 82 overall. But then you go up here to Duke because Illinois is 25th, South Carolina's 24th, and then you go Duke, Auburn, Missouri. Well, Duke, Auburn, Missouri are all ranked 84 overall, but then you go down here to South Carolina and Illinois, and they're 82 overall. Like it just
And
doesn't make
Illinois is
sense to
returning
me.
more
Like
than
if that
anyone
were
else.
Auburn, that's what I'm saying. And if all those teams were grouped together, because you have SMU, Tennessee, Missouri, Auburn, and Duke. Those are all the 84 overalls. Like if you had South Carolina and Illinois all ranked 84 overall with those teams, it'd be like, hey, that's just how they seeded them. But to
Right.
put Illinois and South Carolina like two notches below them. Now, when you're playing the game, I'm not a big fan of the game personally. Not just, I mean, it's for stuff like this, but like it just doesn't seem realistic to me. It's a fun game. I encourage everybody to go buy it, but to me personally, just it doesn't pique my interest. But for them to be, two overall rankings below those 4 or 5 teams, there, like when you play the game, are you going to be able to notice it, or is it like what is 2 points?
No, you won't be able to notice it. Lenora Sellers on that game is insane, so he makes up for everything. But it just in a sense of like real life. Okay, let's just compare this to real life because that's what we're doing. Essentially, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I don't think Indiana's a better team than Illinois. I don't think SMU is a better team than Illinois. I don't think they're better than South Carolina. I don't think those teams are better than Auburn, but we're kind of a wait and see with Auburn. Um, the
Yeah.
Tennessee one, I kind of understand to an extent, just because they are returning quite a bit from a team that didn't make the playoff. Now, yes, they did get skull drug, but they had some big wins in the regular season, unlike an SMU to me. SMU didn't beat anyone. So I do kind of understand that one, maybe. But let's kind of move on to
I
the
mean,
next
but they're,
group. Sorry, what were you going to
yeah.
say? Well, let's finish up on what you were going to say,
No,
and then
I was
we're going to
just
move on to
saying,
the
like,
next.
yeah, I was just gonna keep it real quick. I was just saying, like, Auburn, we're kind of both. Like, we're high on them, not like South Carolina and Oklahoma, but we are high on them. Like, they're just returning a lot of those type players that can really flip a game on the head,
Mm-hmm.
if that makes sense. They're returning those 2 receivers, and then they have that quarterback coming in. I mean, I think they should be higher than Missouri, Tennessee.
I agree. Make sure I didn't lose you here. Okay. We're going to go into the next 15 through 11. It's Michigan at 15, Arizona State at 14, Texas Tech at 13, Florida at 12, and 11 with Miami. And the one that sticks out to me, and people are going to hate this because I have talked good about this team. I don't think Texas Tech deserves to be there yet because, yes, they did have this crazy transfer portal class. But what do we really know about Texas Tech?
They got money. That's about all we know.
They got cool uniforms.
That is true.
They do this when they score. I mean, that's all I know. I mean, so I don't know how you can justify putting them at a 13 above an Arizona State, or specifically to me, the one that really.
I know they have.
Sorry.
I know that they have the. Don't they have the number one portal class or no?
Yeah, they do. So
Yeah,
I mean,
so
I'm
I
sure
guess
that
they're putting a lot in their portal.
yeah.
I mean that's all I can say. That's about the only thing I can get to is like maybe they're just putting a lot of respect on the portal class and they think that all those portal kids are going to work out. I mean, I guess whoever made the list and ranked these teams didn't watch Florida State last year.
No, they didn't. They couldn't have because that didn't work out at all. But the reason why it kind of just struck me was I probably wouldn't have had a problem with this, except for they got Michigan ranked below Texas Tech, and Michigan won, what was it, 8 games last year, including the bowl game, with no passing game, and they just brought in the number one dual threat quarterback, and the other guy looks pretty good too. So I think no matter who they roll with, is going to be an upgrade. And I know you hate to hear that, Justin, but I personally would have Michigan ranked above Arizona State and Texas Tech. I probably wouldn't have them above these next. Well, no. I would also have Miami a little bit. I'm going to say higher on the list in numerical order. I would have Miami probably in the 20s. But for whatever sake, my main thing is Michigan being at 15 and Texas Tech and Miami being above them. I don't have the actual numbers of what they have them rated, but I can't imagine it's far off from an 85.
They have so Michigan and Arizona State are 85, and then Texas Tech, Florida, Miami. I know we're not in the top 10 yet, but LSU and Oregon, which is 9 and 10, are 86s. So you got Oregon, LSU, Miami, Florida, Texas Tech. They're all 86s. So I mean, I think in that, like, you can kind of put them in wherever you want to. I mean, but why did they choose that specific team, or why do they choose Texas Tech to be above this team or LSU to be above Miami? Like, I don't know why the rhyme and reason is for that if they're ranked the same.
Well, I think it's to get people talking and just to grab our attention, to be honest with you. And getting into LSU and Oregon, I know I crapped on LSU last week, and I'm going to continue to do it all year. I don't care if they win the national championship. I'm going to keep doing it. But LSU is returning their quarterback. Oregon has a brand new guy, essentially. LSU had a higher rated portal class. LSU by the numbers should be a better team than Oregon, just based on what's coming back. So I don't know why Oregon's ranked above them. Now, personally, by the numbers, I don't believe in it, but
yeah, I think mainly it's because Oregon, they're losing a lot, and they are bringing in that new starting quarterback. He sat behind Dylan Gabriel for a year, but before that, as a freshman, he wasn't the main starter, but he did get a bunch of playing time. So it wasn't like he was like a Julian Sayin or somebody like that. Now, he wasn't on the spectrum of like Dylan Raiola, but he did get a little bit of playing time, and then he ended up leaving. So I think they're taking that into account, and I think LSU. I don't know. I got one word for LSU personally. I think everybody that watches this video, if you watch the last one, you probably know what it is. But I mean,
what is it?
I don't know. I think LSU is going to be okay. I was probably a little harsh on them last week, but I kind of like it.
I don't know. I guess the next thing that if it just caught my eye was they have Clemson 7, Georgia 6. This part I'll agree with. I'll just go through it. This part I agree with. Clemson 7, maybe. Georgia 6, or Georgia 6, Notre Dame 5, Penn State 4, Ohio State 3, Texas 2, and Alabama 1, I guess. I would personally have Clemson higher. I would personally have Texas A&M lower. Well, flip that. I would have Clemson in the top 5, and I would have Texas A&M about where Miami Michigan in that range, in that top 15. What is it about Alabama? I mean, this is a question I genuinely have. This is a team that won 9 games last year, and you have them as the number 1 team in the country.
And they lost a lot. Like, here's my thing with them too is like, okay, like I do get what you're saying, Mason. Like, and we kind of talked about it a little bit earlier. So from 8 to 2, which is Texas is 2, Ohio State's 3, Penn State's 4, Notre Dame's 5, Georgia is 6, Clemson 7, Texas A&M's 8. So all those teams, those 7 teams, they're all 88 overall. But there has to be a reason that Texas is at 2, Notre Dame's at 5, and then Texas A&M is at 8. Like, they're all ranked the same, but why are they put in just like that? I don't really have a problem with that. I think Clemson's ranked way too low, personally, but I feel like that little corridor of 7 teams is kind of like, who are you going to choose to put above somebody else? But Alabama won an absolute dumpster fire. I mean, I think Alabama's going to be decent, but do you think they're going to be better? No. Do you think they're going to be better than Ohio State, who I know we're talking overall team right now, but Ohio State has the 2 best players in the game.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, how are they ranked 3 when they just won the national championship? And, like, it just – I don't know. I don't understand why Alabama's ranked 1. If they were ranked 1 and they were still an 88 overall, I'd be like, okay, they just chose to put them 1, whatever. But I just don't understand that 89 overall.
I don't either. It's almost like they think Nick Saban is back at Bama and Tuscaloosa coaching. I don't know.
I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. My biggest thing with it is like you can't tell what they value in this. Like you can't tell if they value known
because
commodities.
Yeah, and the thing is like there's certain teams that are down here, like Arizona State's ranked high, probably because they do have a lot of returning starters. But then you go up here and Penn State's ranked 4, but they have just as many returning starters at just as many key pieces. But like, why are they 4? And like, you have Notre Dame and Georgia and Clemson has more returning starters. So like, are you going based off returning starters? Are you going based off like quarterback experience? Like, I can't really, and I think that's what pisses me off so much is like, there's no rhyme or reason why they have the teams ranked like this.
No, there's none. Because if they valued, it has to be a mixture of name brand affiliation, like who's gonna talk about what, and then maybe like exciting players on each team. But then we can go back to South Carolina and Illinois. Illinois is returning more than anybody else in the country, and South Carolina has the most exciting player maybe in the country. So it is hard to tell. And what did Florida do to be at 11 or 12 that South Carolina didn't do?
Exactly. And you can't sit here and tell me like oh, Florida's all the way down there because they have an unexperienced quarterback. And yeah, he got to play a little bit, but he's not proven. And it's like, okay, well, he probably played just as much. Actually, he played more last year than Arch Manning played.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, that's what upsets me. Like there's no rhyme or reason why certain teams are low and certain teams are high in their corridor of teams that are roughly around the same talent composite as they are or as each other. You know what I mean?
Did you see this? This is kind of off topic a little bit. Did you see that West Virginia is going back to the glossy blue helmets now instead of the matte kind of, like mid 2010s look that everyone was going with?
That makes sense because their football coach is from around that same time frame, ain't he?
Mm-hmm. And I didn't know this, but a lot of West Virginia's transfers, it's kind of a Curt Cignetti situation where Rich Rod was at Jacksonville State last year, and a lot of the transfers that he's bringing to Morganton is from Jacksonville State. I really like West Virginia. I really like Rich Rod. I really like their home stadium. I love just the whole. I love the vibe of that program. So I really, really, really
What?
hope that we see them really explode this year. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, let me look something up real quick, Mason. Keep talking about them. I'm going to look up their win percentage totals.
Um, and like, and like another thing is like with West Virginia, like they always have some small shifty wide receiver that's super good. They always play like some big team at night, and all their fans are wearing yellow. Like, and Rich Rod is just the guy, and everyone should love Rich Rod because when he was at Michigan, he sucked, and then everywhere else he's been pretty good. So it's like a really good combination. Um, Another question I have for you is like, who are you really excited to play with on the new game? I know you said you don't like the game, whatever. If you were to play the game, Justin, who would you be excited to play with that isn't a Buckeye?
Okay, Mason. Do you want me to answer that question and then go on my rant about Jeremiah Smith? Or would you rather me go on my rant about Jeremiah Smith now? Because it's going to happen.
Look, okay. How about this? You say a player, you talk about that player, I'll talk about a player, and then you can talk about why you love Jeremiah Smith again.
Okay, fine. Let me think, because that's kind of tough. Because like obviously you're gonna pick Lenora Sellers. Like that's. I mean, I think it would be a disservice if you didn't say him.
I got a different.
I'm trying to think of a fun player to play with. Okay, yeah, let's go with somebody that's not like Lenore Sellers, DJ Lagway. Like those are two off the board because I feel like that's kind of a given.
Right.
I would say, honestly, man, I caught myself, and I mean, people are gonna laugh at it because I'm not an Arkansas fan, but Taylon Green's actually really fun to play with too.
He is. He's a big, tall.
But I would have to say, yeah, big, tall, like he's like that DJ Lagway kind of Lenora Sellers type body. I really like the quarterback and wide receiver duo at Arizona State, and then the wide receiver for Texas. I would probably say the wide receiver from Texas Tech.
Okay.
What is his name? I don't even know his name. He was in the transfer portal. He was number 1 overall transfer. I mean, but here's the thing too, though, Mason. Like, if you think about it, like last year when the game first came out, everybody was kind of excited to play with the Buckeyes. But then you found out that Quinshon Judkins had that crazy, stupid spin move.
Yeah, he did. For me personally, my guy would be Jeremiah Love from Notre Dame. So like I'm not a big Notre Dame guy personally, but I do like Touchdown Jesus. I do like the gold helmets, and I love running the ball. So something about just loading it up with Notre Dame just gets me every single time. I had a lot of fun with them last year, and the same thing with the 2 running backs from Penn State. I just got to kind of get a good running back, a good offensive line, and I usually have a lot of fun on that game. So what were you looking up there, Justin? Or do you want to go on your Jeremiah Smith rant?
Man, if you want me to be honest, I think I'm about to lose Wi-Fi service. So what I pulled up, I'll go over both of this really quick. You might have to end off the show by yourself. I'm really going to try not to make you do that.
That's fine.
Conference win totals. Here we go. So the thing about Jeremiah Smith, like I really hate going over him so much because everybody's just going to feel like I'm kind of like, but he's a 98 overall. Dude, 6'3", 215, runs like 23 miles an hour. Me personally, I think he's going to be the first 99 overall ranked player. I mean, that's just me personally. If you want to go, I don't know. I'm kind of getting tired of talking about him because I'm talking to a bunch of people that like don't. I've seen him every single week. So it's one of those things to where it's like I've seen it all the time. But, I mean, I'm just telling you, you can hate Ohio State. You don't have to like him. Like them, I mean. But the thing is I feel like Jeremiah Smith is one of those people
that like you're gonna regret not watching him as much as you could have because the dude is an absolute freak show. And I think Mason can attest to that. Like Mason, you can say whatever you want to, but like he's a
On my screen, we are losing Justin, but I think he's still there. Yeah, Jeremiah Smith is a freak show. Guys, in the chat, if y'all have any questions that y'all want us to quickly go over, we can do that. No, I didn't lose you, Justin.
Damn
You're
it.
still there. Sorry for the F-bomb, guys. He's having some technical difficulties. He's traveling, so he doesn't have good signal. But in a nutshell, kind of what we went over today was we went over the new transfer portal window, kind of what we would prefer for another transfer portal window, or maybe them to slim down. Then we went over the top 25 teams by EA, and then I don't know how to get that off the screen. Whatever. But yeah, if y'all have any questions, drop them in the chat real quick. Okay, so if I had to play my Road to Glory right now, I'm going to Purdue probably, play at Ross-Ade Stadium. They got a big drum, do. They got cool helmets. They got cool uniforms in general. And I kind of like leading those teams that aren't as good to glory. I played with Mississippi State a lot last year on my Road to Glory. I went to Texas Tech once. I just kind of like grinding it out at those teams that are in power conferences but aren't as good. What other questions we got? I'm going to try to stretch out the show a little bit longer, but I probably won't go too much longer. I think I'm on a little bit of a delay, so I'm going to have to wait on these questions to come in. So Marshall, their head coach moved on. I cannot quite remember where Marshall went. Also, this question was asked by Blaine, and so was the last one. So Marshall actually had to cancel their bowl game because they went from a head coach and all their players, and their coach left and took all their players with them. So they had to cancel their bowl game. I honestly don't know what Marshall's bringing in. If I had to put just a random number out there, I'm not expecting a lot from the Thundering Herd. I'm going to say 3 wins is what I would have to guess on Marshall. A team I'm really looking forward to playing with, or maybe watching, or just kind of keeping up with, but more importantly on the topic of the video game, is I'm kind of interested to see what Ole Miss's quarterback looks like on the game, because we don't know much about him. We don't know what his ratings are going to be. I'm just interested to see what they think he's going to be like compared to what he's going to be like in real life. Blaine also asked, who's your favorite to win the national championship this year? I cannot go on about this enough. My personal pick, is the Clemson Tigers. I love Dabo Swinney. I love Cade Klubnik. I feel like their defense is going to be vastly improved. They can always run the ball pretty decently whenever they're good, and they finally got good receivers. So my favorites to win Clemson. My second favorites to win Penn State, or to win the national championship, is Penn State, and not because Penn State is just this crazy team. They didn't make this crazy vast improvement. But if it's not this year, when's it going to be? I feel like college football in general is going to have a lot of instability, and a team returning a lot like Penn State, to me, could make a run deep, and they could win one. James Franklin could kind of get that monkey off his back. Jason Lynch asked, what are your thoughts on the Hogs versus Notre Dame? Jason Lynch is our resident Notre Dame fan where I'm from. He's kind of a gold flag in the midst of red. I don't like it for the Hogs. Everything Notre Dame can do is things that we kind of struggled with. We struggled with stopping the run against better teams last year. We also struggled on the offensive line last year. I do think our receiver transfers that we brought in on the Hogs side are going to be good. But as far as being able to run the ball against Notre Dame and stop the run, I don't like our chances. And I don't think that that's Notre Dame's toughest SEC game they play. I think A&M's a lot tougher game for Notre Dame because it's kind of strength against strength. And for the Hogs, it's our weakness is our offensive line, and that's going to be the biggest story whenever that game is played in Fayetteville. Clayton Feemster says, how bad does Bama have to be to not be ranked top 5 on the video game and in the preseason? They're going to have to go to pre-Saban years. They're going to have to be 6-6, 5-7 before they're ever not ranked, period. And I don't see that coming in the future. I do think they have a good head coach, and I think he's been recruiting pretty well. I don't think that you're going to see a drop-off of Bama in the sense of them just disappearing like a Nebraska or an Oklahoma kind of has been the last couple of years. I just think it's taken a little bit to get acclimated, and I do think Bama's going to be a good team. I think it's going to be important to see how Ty Simpson starts out the year and how he kind of runs the show. I like their defense. I like their running backs. Ryan Williams is a good receiver, so I do like that aspect of it. I just think it's kind of a wait and see with Ty Simpson. And to see, they kind of had games last year, and it could have been on Jalen Milroe where their offense just never got it going. A great example is that Oklahoma game where he throws 2 picks back to back, and they just get blown out. And then in that Michigan game, they never got anything going. So it's kind of just one of those things for Alabama. I don't think they're the best team in the country, though. That's a egregious ranking to me. What other questions do we got, guys? I'm gonna go for probably about 10 more minutes. While I'm waiting on the questions. Thoughts on the dumpster fire coach in Baton Rouge? Okay, Brian Kelly, to me, I know. Okay, I'll give a good example here. I used to talk about John Calipari a lot whenever he was the Kentucky head coach, and I always said John Calipari does less with more than anybody else I've ever seen. Brian Kelly does the exact same thing. You can't tell me a good head coach has Jaden Daniels, Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas on that offense and wins 9 games. I think Feemster's coming back.
Hey, you know what I mean? I gotta go to a different room, stand on one toe, hold it with my index finger, but the show must go on. I'm gonna come back. I'm not just gonna leave everybody high and dry.
So the question that I'm answering right now, Feem, is thoughts on the dumpster fire coach in Baton Rouge. And I was kind of talking about how Brian Kelly, to me, does less with more than anyone I've ever seen. And this is a team that they lost a lot on the offensive line. They lost due to unfortunate circumstances. They did lose their top receiver in Kyron Lacey. They are returning a running back, and their defense should improve. But will that be enough to push LSU with Brian Kelly, mind you, with Brian Kelly? Can't forget about that. Over 8-9 wins. I don't personally think so, and I think Brian Kelly needs to be on his way to the retirement home somewhere in the Midwest where no one will ever see him again.
Well, I mean, honestly, man, here's the thing, and I think our local Notre Dame fans, I think he's in the chat. He's probably in the chat.
He's the one who asked this question.
Yeah, it makes sense. Here's my thing. So when he was at Notre Dame, he was actually a better coach than he is now, but I think it was because of the easier schedule, and there was not as high of expectations on him there. But he felt like he couldn't win the big games at Notre Dame because he couldn't bring in the talent and he couldn't run the kind of SEC. You know, everybody wants to leave and go to the SEC. So he couldn't bring in the talent. He just had excuse after excuse why he couldn't win the big games at Notre Dame. Well, then he went to LSU. LSU got worse, and Notre Dame got better. And I'm sure our local Notre Dame fan was – I don't know how they felt about Brian Kelly when he was at Notre Dame, but I'm sure with the seasons that they were having, they thought they were just going to get over that hill. So when Brian Kelly said that he was going to leave Notre Dame, I'm sure they thought the whole world was going to end. But looking back on it, I'm sure that they're happy that he left, and they got an Ohio State alum in Marcus Freeman. But it's just crazy to me because, like, is Brian Kelly the James Franklin of the South?
Brian Kelly is James Franklin times 10 to me. I think James Franklin's a way better coach.
I just
I've
mean
said
like
it over and over
losing.
again.
I
Sorry.
just mean like losing the big games, like always kind of choking away the games that they're not. Like I don't know, it just feels very James Franklin-esque.
Brian Kelly invented it. James Franklin's carrying on the legacy. I think Notre Dame made the greatest decision ever, letting Brian Kelly go and bringing Marcus Freeman in. I think that was the best decision of the 2020 so far. I've said it multiple times, but I think that's my favorite decision anyone's made. Davis C. asked, will Arkansas ever beat Alabama? I need to win money from my uncle. Dirty, buddy. We don't play Alabama this year. We'd have to meet them in Atlanta. I don't see that happening. Will Arkansas ever beat Alabama, though? I imagine. One day, maybe. I wouldn't put your money on it, though. It does not seem like that has been possible, but I'll give you this on the bright side, Davis. Nick Saban is on the lake or in an ESPN booth or doing a podcast or doing appearances. He's no longer on the sideline. That upped our chances by 10 at least.
Yeah,
that's all I got.
I don't. If it does happen in our lifetime, I'm sure all of us are going to be having kids, maybe grandkids. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think it could. I think, especially now that Nick Saban's gone, I think all of us kind of knew that he wasn't going to coach forever, but it felt like he was going to. But now that Nick Saban's gone, I feel like you could. I just think you're going to have to play him in the regular season because I don't see Arkansas making it to Atlanta. I mean, anytime soon, really, if you want me to be honest.
You know what? This is a stat for our resident Ole Miss fan. He's probably not watching the show right now, but he will later whenever he's laying in bed. Arkansas has made it to Atlanta how many times? Twice. You know how many times Ole Miss has made it to Atlanta? Big fat goose egg. Never done it. And prior to Nick Saban, Arkansas didn't have a bad record against Alabama. We weren't winning that series, but 13 times in a row you lose to a guy kind of skews those numbers. So, I mean, you never know. You never know the fall and rise of college programs. Arkansas will never be that, though. We'll never be top tier. We're not committed enough to win. I could go on a whole rant about that. What other questions do we got, guys? We're going to go, since Justin's back, we might go another 10 minutes. If y'all keep asking questions, we'll go a little bit longer. We got 6 people in the chat right now, so go ahead, shoot, fire.
I wasn't able to find West Virginia's win total percentage. Can you look that up for me, Mason?
What do you mean?
Like what's their over under on win total?
Oh. Yeah.
I know we were talking about that earlier before my Wi-Fi and my phone kind of crapped out, and I was trying to look it up in a hurry and I just couldn't find it on FanDuel. I'm kind of with you though. I would say they're kind of going to be like that Indiana type where they might sneak up and beat some people, and you look at the end of the season and they're like 10-0 or 9-0 or whatever they will be. I don't even know if they play Clemson this year, which would be a big skate out of the ACC. But I mean, is West Virginia a dark horse to make it to the ACC championship? I don't know how hard their schedule is, so I don't even think we talked about them.
Well. No, not for the ACC. They play in the Big 12. But
oh crap!
my computer is currently wagging out, so
that's all right. All these conferences, like you would think that West Virginia would play in the ACC.
Well, they were initially in the Big East, and then they went to the Big 12 whenever the Big East collapsed.
Oh yeah, you're right. Well, I mean, and you think about it too, though. Like that's even a better case for them. Like, who's the big dog, big team in the Big 12?
None of them.
They don't have one. So could West Virginia make it to the Big 12 conference championship?
I would hope so. Honestly, I would love that for the sport. I would love that for Pat McAfee, and I would love that for Rich Rod. Rich Rod's one of my favorite guys in the entire world of college football. So we're not getting any more questions, guys. Sorry for the technical difficulties. This was just going to be kind of a weird episode. It's the day before July 4th. We're already in vacation mode. Justin's traveling. The Wi-Fi is not working as good as it should be. Next week we will have a better prepared show. We'll be in a more stable position. So please come join us, guys. Again, like, share, follow, subscribe, comment on all our stuff. Tell us how dumb we are or how much you hate us, or personal attacks are fine. I don't care. They don't hurt my feelings. Anything you said, we've heard it a million times. And especially to LSU fans, I want to say a huge thank you. That was our biggest TikTok. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for telling us all how dumb we were and how ugly we were and how we shouldn't even have podcast equipment. We appreciate that, guys. Almost 5,000 views. We gained like 15 followers from it. That was a great thing. Hopefully y'all will mess around and make us famous. Justin, you got anything for the people before we shut this down for the night?
Man, I appreciate it. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Obviously, we're not making any money from this right now, so we don't have a studio. All of us have family. All of us have people that are coming into town around this time of year. So, just take care of your loved ones. Go shoot off some fireworks. Be careful. And that's pretty much all I got. Like and subscribe, like you said. Thanks for battling with us through it. And I mean, the show must go on. So it doesn't matter what kind of internet service I have. I will stand on a 20-foot ladder on the top of the Empire State Building if I have to get internet service to come talk to you guys.
We appreciate it, guys, so much. Again, have a very happy, safe. Don't drink and drive, please, guys. Cops are out, but more importantly, people's loved ones are out. We appreciate y'all a lot. Have a great holiday weekend. Get a good reset, go to work refreshed, and join us next week. We might be on TikTok Live too. We don't know yet. We're trying to figure that out. But we appreciate it, guys. Y'all have a great day and a great rest of your weekend.